It was a word Jose Mourinho had not heard of, but one that would encapsulate his market dealings at Manchester United. In a rare show of transfer solidarity between manager and executive vice chairman, Mourinho thanked Ed Woodward for introducing churn to his English vocabulary. He's completely right, Mourinho acknowledged. 2 years ago, Woodward outlined United's intention not to repeat the churn of Louis van Gaal's summers. 6 players arrived in the 2015 and 16 summer windows and 24 players were sold or released during Van Gaal's reign. That number drastically dropped to 13 under Mourinho, whose most lucrative sale was the £24 million Morgan Schneiderlin in January. Typically, Mourinho came to abhor the strategy. He wanted up to 6 players out last summer, but only 2 departed for fees. A United ended a fraught window where Mourinho and Woodward were barely in each other's presence, devoid of 2 priority targets. Mourinho stood and United stalled. He chronically underachieved with a squad that, while patently not championship challengers, should never have drifted 11 points away from 4th in the Premier League. Who Manchester United could face in Champions League quarter-final. Solskjaer has enhanced a number of players and his winning runs have lulled pundits and punters into false senses of security. Tour signings was the knee-jerk consensus among some in the wake of the captivating comeback in Paris. Then an underwhelming Arsenal hosted United's shortcomings at both ends. Victor Lindelof regressed and United do not have an elite number 9 a la Van Persie or Nistelrooy. United need a minimum 4 players, a fullback, a centre-back, a midfielder and a forward. They must recruit whilst mindful of the development of the 3 gigaseconds and see Greenwood, Garner, Gomes and Chong, and think outside of the box. For all the digging by the bloated scouting department, the only gem unearthed since Javier Hernandez in 2010 is Diogo Dalot, a signing made possible by the previous manager's knowledge of the Portuguese system. What Fred did behind the scenes to win over Ole Gunnar Solskjaer add the teenage quartet to the current United squad, and it is a flabby 29-man squad. Gomes, Garner and Chong started in the limpy UEFA Youth League defeat at Midtjylland, and Greenwood would have travelled but for illness. Garner turned 18 this week, Greenwood is still 17 and the 18-year-old Gomes had a loan move lined up in January that Solskjaer blocked. A change of scenery is maybe advisable for next season. Solskjaer emphatically confirmed at the start of the month he had told Woodward which players needed to come and go, and one is already in the departures lounge. Antonio Valencia will be joined by Matteo Darmian, a more affordable option for Italian clubs this summer. Now he has 1 year left on his deal and the market inflation has calmed. United have attempted to jettison Marcos Rojo in 3 of the last 4 summers. He was injured in the other, but he could take some shifting. Rojo is on a reported £160,000 a week and is contracted until 2021. United are making room for a fullback by discarding Valencia, whose 1-year option was left dormant on its deadline day, and beckoning Darmian towards the exit. Rojo would make room for a centre-half. United have 5 of them already, 6 if you were to include Axel Tuanzebe once his loan at Aston Villa has expired, which effectively enforces a sell-to-buy policy in that particular area. Ander Herrera's camp expect him to stay at United beyond the summer, despite entering the final 4 months of his deal. Juan Mata is not as certain, with a sticking point in negotiations believed to be his desire for a minimum 2-year contract, as opposed to a 1-year deal with the option of an extension. That United want to retain Mata could swing it, though he would underpin Solskjaer's case for an attacking addition, unless the Chinese Super League liberates United of Alexis Sanchez. The Maru and Fellaini transfer was a breakthrough for United in that they finally negotiated with the CSL side, having hoped to deal with one over Wayne Rooney in 2016. Fellaini arguably gives United leverage to reinforce the midfield, but Scott McTominay has matured so impressively he was maybe hastily dropped at the expense of Nemanja Matic at Arsenal and the Calo Garner cameoed at Crystal Palace 2 weeks ago. Fellaini